Hi, if you are new here, I am Julie, keeper of my home, and today we are going to make gingerbread. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to add 1 stick or half a cup of room temperature butter to a bowl. On a large mixing bowl because we're going to combine all of our ingredients into this one bowl, so I want to make it a little bit of a larger bowl, right? And we are also going to add half a cup of brown sugar. Ideally you want dark brown sugar, but I only have light brown sugar, so light brown sugar it is. So half a cup of each, and then you are going to cream those together. Okay, my oven is to temperature. I'm setting the temperature, my oven, I'm preheating at 325. Now the recipe calls for using a metal baking dish. I'm not using a metal baking dish, I'm using a glass baking dish. So you want to reduce your temperature by 25 degrees. I'm baking at 325 because I've got the glass dish, but if you are using a metal dish, then you want to bake it at 350. Okay, so this is all creamed together. So once I get that creamed together, I am going to add my molasses, and I want a cup of that. Cover off. If you have never seen one of these lovely push cups, you're in for a treat. I love this thing. This is like my favorite piece, my favorite tool in the kitchen. I just measure, turn it over, and push this down through, and look at that. It cleans that whole thing out for me. I love it. It's perfect. I love this thing. Okay, so once I have my molasses in here, I'm going to mix this up a little bit more. I want to follow my directions really well because I don't want to mess this up. I got one shot. My husband and I do a colonial Christmas feast each year for his family. So this year, for dessert, we are having gingerbread. So that is why I'm making this. The feast is actually tomorrow, so I'm making this a day ahead just to make tomorrow much easier for me. And this is perfect to make a day ahead. So it's going to taste even better on the day of. So we've added our brown sugar, half a cup of butter, and 1 cup of molasses. We creamed the butter and the sugar, we added the molasses, stirred that in until it's combined, and I'm going to add an egg. I know for all of you people who don't like to add eggs directly to your mix, I know you're cringing. Okay, I am going to mix that egg in there, and I'm also going to add some vanilla. I want a teaspoon of vanilla. This is some homemade vanilla that I get from the Amish. We live near an Amish community, and I love that because we can get a lot of nice things there. All right, I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of fresh vanilla. This smells so good, so good. Mix that in nicely. You just want it all mixed together, okay? So I'm going to move that aside, and in a separate bowl, smaller bowl, I have 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. To this, I am going to add, and I'm going to look at my measurements so I don't get anything wrong, 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. And in this dish, I have 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, a half a teaspoon of ground cloves, and 3/4 teaspoon of salt. So I'm just going to put all of that in there. And I'm going to mix it all in. I'm going to use my spatula to Just want to combine everything, mix it all up, stir it all up so that your seasonings get well blended. You can use a whisk for this. A whisk will work perfectly. All right, now we're going to take this and add it to our wet mixture. Just gradually add these dry ingredients to our wet until it's completely combined, okay? You just want to add a little bit at a time to make sure you're getting it all in there and mixed really well. This is a really easy recipe. It's a quick and easy dessert. And like I said, it can be made ahead of time. I like dishes that can be made ahead. If you are interested in last year's Colonial Christmas Feast, I do have a video on that, and I can link it at the end of this video. There is, it's all in picture form, so it's actually snapshots. Our daughter-in-law is a photographer, and she came over and documented everything for us, so it was really, really lovely. Okay, you can see how thick this is getting. All right, once we get this flour mixture all in there, nicely combined, we are going to take 1 cup of boiling water, and we are going to stir this in until everything is smooth and combined. And we want to do it very slowly, very carefully. I'm going to add a little bit here. So you want to just go slow and get it all mixed in there. Add a little bit more. How lovely this looks. If I'd have had dark brown sugar, this would have been a lot darker, but it's okay. Use what you got. It's not going to affect the taste. A little bit more. I'm going to start using my spatula for this so I can scrape the sides a little bit as well as I'm going along. Okay, and add the rest of it. You just want to stir this up until everything is smooth and well combined. You want everything to be smooth. So you can see there's still a few puddles of water in here. So you want to get those all mixed in and get your batter so that it is nicely smooth. Almost like a runny peanut butter. That's what it's going to look like. Okay, there we go. Okay, you can see how nice and smooth this is. There's no more puddles of water. It's just all smooth batter. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to pour it into our pan. This pan is greased. You want it greased or lined with parchment. It is a 9 by 11. Or 8.5 by 11. I don't think it's exactly 9. Recipe calls for a 9 by 9. I don't have a 9 by 9. So we're going to make an exception and do it this way. I like to get all of this out, all the batter out. My sister and I were just saying, we watch those cooking shows and they never clean out the bowl. I don't know whether they're saving it for themselves for later or what, but I don't want to waste. All right, we are going to spread this around. Now I'm going to put this in my oven, and like I said, it is a preheated oven. I preheated it to 325 because this is a glass baking dish. They tend to brown a little bit quicker than the metal, so you want to just reduce your temperature to make up for that. I'm just going to tamp that on there. Make sure I get all of this blended in there. Okay, so we're going to put this in the oven and bake it for about 40 minutes or until a cake tester or toothpick in the center comes out clean. I'm going to put it right on the center of the rack. I'm going to set my timer for 40 minutes. And when that goes off, we're going to have a lovely gingerbread ready for our dinner tomorrow. Our gingerbread, I believe, is done. I've tested it before I pulled it out with a cake tester. You can see my little holes. I just wanted to make sure that it was not doughy in the center, and it's completely cooked. It took 42 minutes, so I did put it at 325 because it is a glass dish. You don't want it to over brown. My gosh, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. So we're going to set it here in the corner and let it cool until tomorrow night when we serve it. I will be sure to snap a picture of this when we serve it. I hope I'll snap a picture of it. I'm gonna try to remember. You know, when things get going and you're having a good time and you know you're serving others, sometimes it'll slip your mind. But I'm gonna try to get a picture of this when it's all plated up and ready to go. But for right now, this is as far as it's gonna go. So thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you very, very much. And until next time.